The inside story on the issues that affect you and your community. This is Local 12 Newsmakers.
Good morning and welcome to Local 12 Newsmakers. I'm Dan Hurley. The announcements over the last 8 months signal a seismic generational shift of leadership in the local not-for-profit community. Last June, Kathy Merchant, the president and CEO of the Greater Cincinnati Foundation, announced that she would retire after 18 years as the head of one of the largest community foundations in the United States. Last November, Charlene Ventura announced that she will retire as the leader of the YWCA. Over her 26 years at the helm, America has seen a revolution in the place of women in society. Earlier this month, Sallie Westheimer announced her retirement after 35 years as the executive leading 4C for Children. Over that time span, society moved from thinking about caring for young children as babysitting or daycare to early childhood education. And just this week, Brewster Rhodes, the CEO of the Green Umbrella, announced his intention to retire. As a political operative, the driving force behind Paddlefest, and a leader of the sustainability movement, Brewster has a very long shadow. To explore one line of this transition, I am joined this morning by Sallie Westheimer. Sallie began her career working for local children in 1971 at Citizens Committee on Youth. In 1972, Sallie helped found 4C for Children and joined the founding board of trustees. In 1980, she was hired as the executive director and has been there ever since. What stability you've got. So congratulations.
Thanks, Dan.
And welcome to Newsmakers. You and I are longtime friends, and I should reveal that my wife also works for 4C for Children, so I've got millions of conflicts of interest, so what do I care? Anyway, back in the 1970s when you got started in this area, what was the conception of what child caring was, early child caring, and what did 4C think it was being founded for? What were the beginnings of all of this?
At that time, there were two whole worlds. One was parents, particularly lower income working parents, needed a safe place for their children so they could have peace of mind when they went to work. And so childcare was, the focus of childcare had to do with safety and stability. There was another world where middle class and higher income families were sending their children to preschool so that they could get a great start in life. Over the years, those two have really blended as women of all incomes are in the workforce, and as we've learned so much more about how children grow and learn and the importance of high quality early learning.
Now, 4C for Children, for those people who might not know, you don't run child caring centers, you don't early childhood education centers, you don't run those yourself. How would you describe 4C at this point in 2014?
So what we do is we support the adults who care for children. That means parents, and we have a variety of ways that we help families find and choose quality child care and other supports for families. The other thing is we are the primary provider of training, coaching, and support for the early childhood education field, so preschool, child care, home-based child care businesses, and so forth.
And educating those people, how many people though come through your workshops, come through your programs in a year? It's amazing. So
last year we had over 1,500 different courses serving 24,000 participants. So that gives a sense of the amount of professional development that is happening in our community.
And just to be clear, this isn't just in the city of Cincinnati or Hamilton County. You have a big service area.
Right. 4C serves 40 counties, 15 in Ohio, including the Dayton, Miami Valley region, a big presence in northern Kentucky, and smaller presence in Moorhead and Louisville.
Yeah, all the way down. So huge spread, growth, with those same services being delivered in different ways in different places. Yeah. Yeah. When I look at the press release that was issued at the time that you announced your retirement, there's all these things about accomplishments, and they're all wonderful. But for you personally, what makes you smile? When you think of what you have contributed sometimes it's the little things, it's not just the big things. What is it that makes you feel really good about what you've done?
Well, so you didn't give me the questions ahead of time, and I have to sort of
I
think
never give
about it. So
anybody's
you said a
questions.
small thing. The
Well,
big
how
thing
big?
is the ways in which the work that I've done with my colleagues at 4C and our partners in the community, the difference it makes in the lives of literally hundreds of thousands of children over the years, that really we have made their lives better, their chances of success better, giving kids a great start. It's just doing this sort of mission-driven work all these years is extraordinarily fulfilling.
Are there little things? Are there moments that you say, after, you hold on to because you know that showed you that it works?
One of the things that has driven me is it has to do with a passion, sort of wake up in the morning and think of the difference that my colleagues and I are making. So one of the reasons why I feel so good about retiring at this time is I see this community so filled with people who share that passion, and I think what I guess I feel good about is that I think some of my energy has rubbed off on others, and I see that people are just charged up about early learning, about preschool, about meeting the needs of working families, and I'm excited about that.
And I think that's a big, huge change from the 1970s where you started, where this would have been a pretty isolated, with maybe a lot of people not paying attention unless they had a child of the age that really needed these sorts of services.
I started out at a time where the feeling was very strong that a good mother would stay home with her children, and that those who chose or had to go in the workplace, that they were doing something wrong. There's a completely different feeling now about some of it's economic pressure, but some of it is has to do with equality of women, and it has to do with opportunities to contribute that were not seen in such a positive light then.
Which is the connection to much of the career of Charlene Ventura.
Right, right. And we've worked very closely together in partnership over the years.
At this point in time, 2014, 2015, whenever we are,
Yeah.
You're recognized not only as the leader in Cincinnati in this area, but really statewide and to some extent nationally. What's it mean to be a leader not only of an organization, a company, or in your case 4C for Children, an agency? What's it mean to step out into that public space and be the person that people expect to hear, trust your word about what all of this means and where we're headed and where we ought to be headed? How do you feel about that, and what's it mean to you?
Well, it's interesting, Dan. I've sort of thought a little bit about how that happened, and there's no plan about it. I'm an extrovert. I say what I think, and I think a lot about policy issues. And so I found myself in settings to talk about not just the work of 4C or individual assistance to a teacher or director of a child care center or a parent, but what are the public policies behind that are holding families back and that get in the way of success. And so I'm very drawn to what are the public policies, what are the community attitudes that, if improved, would make a difference. And so that's how I found myself on state and national settings where I was speaking
Do you
up.
like that?
I love that part of it.
You love that
yes,
part of it?
I love that part of it, yeah.
Okay.
I love the public policy. I love the idea that in addition to helping individuals, we can make the situation better so that the next generation has an easier time.
Who have been models for you? Who have been the influences on giving you that sense of passion, commitment, to public policy, to having a public life, to having a public voice. Who are the people that you've looked to, either admired from a distance or maybe have been part of your life that have made that worthwhile?
I'm surrounded by people in this community who care so much, and so there's a synergy that goes on, but I really have to attribute it to my parents and their parents. I grew up in a household where we talked about social services and education every night at the dinner table, where both my mother and my father were strongly engaged in community activity. Ruth and Bob Westheimer.
Because a lot of people knew them.
Yeah. So my mother was involved in a variety of things, including voting and electoral issues with the League of Women Voters, and also with neighborhood houses. She was on a board of a national community center organization. My dad was the chair of the United Way and very involved in the Greater Cincinnati Foundation. My dad actually chaired the commission that led to the end of segregation in the Cincinnati public schools. And this is the kind of thing that I heard as I was growing up and saw, and sort of had no choice. I'm also a student of the 60s and early 70s, and it was, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem was the mentality. I really feel like I didn't make a choice, but landed there just because of those influences.
Well, you know, your family, you're talking about your parents and your household, but in an even larger sense, you're part of this amazing, your family's part of this amazing cohort of German-speaking immigrant Jews who came in the 1840s and 50s. Right. And have had so much influence in this community in so many different directions. To what extent, being part of that network and that identity, has that made it possible for you to do the work you've done in this community?
Well, it certainly has. I've had, I guess I've had it easy, if you will, in that doors have been open because I've been surrounded by people who are also engaged in the community. So I'm with them. I remember so many times being in the voting booth with my mother when I was little, or going to meetings and meeting people that enabled me to hit the ground running when I came back from college and started working.
So given all of that, why now? Why retire now? Especially given the fact that I know you're younger than I am. What went into that decision? Why at this moment? Because you're still at the top of your game.
For years, I have said to people when they've asked, when are you going to retire? I said, I am still having fun. I am still charged up all the time about the work we're doing. When that ends, I'll leave. Well, all of a sudden one day I was thinking, that's never going to end. It's never going to end. This is enjoyable. I love the people I work with, and I feel like 4C is making such a huge difference. So someday, sometime, I was going to have to transition from the full-time paid work to being a community volunteer, doing more traveling. I have grandchildren that
who aren't here,
who are not here, who I just love spending time with, and it was time to sort of blend the community involvement as a volunteer with
what do you imagine that community involvement direction, and we're just about out of time for this segment, but will it go into the direction of early childhood, or will this give you a chance to tap other things?
Both.
Both.
I will definitely stay involved in some way, a new hat in early childhood, and find other things to do as well.
Okay, stay right there now.
Okay.
Stay tuned. Sallie will be back to explore the transformation of early childhood as a field. We will begin with a powerful video. Here's a taste.
That's me at 4 months old. I'm one of the thousands of little miracles born into poverty every day. That's my mom. She's 17 and never finished high school. She's got some big dreams for me, but she's alone and she's scared.
Welcome back. I'm joined this morning by Sallie Westheimer, the president and CEO of 4C for Children, who has announced that she will retire June 30th. The first part of the program, we have been exploring Sallie's views on leadership and whatever. This segment, I want to focus on early childhood education. We could start with a bunch of data, but nothing introduces the opportunities better for me than this short video by Ounce of Prevention Fund called Change the First 5 Years and You Change Everything.
That's me at 4 months old. I'm one of the thousands of little miracles born into poverty every day. That's my mom. She's 17 and never finished high school. She's got some big dreams for me. But she's alone and she's scared.
This is my first birthday. That's my grandma, my cousin Tanya, and her boyfriend Kevin. We all live together. It's cold and crowded. I hope we move soon. I don't like Kevin. He's always yelling. This is my second birthday. We're all at daycare, strapped in watching TV again. I wish I could just run around.
This is my third birthday. My brother William's taking care of me while my mom sleeps. She works the night shift, so we can't turn up the TV, but we get to go to bed whenever we want.
This is my fourth birthday. We're sleeping at my aunt's this month. I don't know when my dad's coming home, but I'm hungry and I miss him. This is my fifth birthday. This is my first day of kindergarten. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm unprepared because I didn't get the right start. I'm twice as likely to be in special education.
30% more likely to never go to college.
70% more likely to be arrested for a violent crime.
Become a teen parent.
Drop out of school. Never hold a job. Spend the rest of my life in poverty.
My mom plays with me all the time. She smiles a lot now, and she knows she's not alone anymore.
Grandma, Tanya, and Kevin read me a story every night before I go to bed. I go to my school every day, where I get to run and play and see all my new friends.
Will and I go to preschool together. Today we learned about dinosaurs and played a counting game.
Every morning, my dad and I brush our teeth and eat breakfast together. We have our own place now, and I know we'll always be together. This is my first day of kindergarten. I'm rested, I'm eager, I'm confident, I'm curious, I'm prepared.
I'm ready. I am your future. Change the first 5 years, and you change everything. Anyone interested in investing?
Sallie, you introduced me to that video.
Yeah.
We've used it in Leadership Cincinnati, I guess, for the last 3 years, and we're going to use it again this year. When you see that, what do you see?
Well, the last line says everything, that if we invest in the early years, we can change everything, because that's where the foundation for lifelong learning, that's where it starts, that's where we can support parents to do the very best job and be as present as they can possibly be. If we invest right, we can change everything.
Here's the irony. I want to bring up a graph once again,
Yeah.
Marcia has shared with me and you use all the time. And it's hard to see on the screen, but with this graph, what's this graph show? The top line is showing what?
The top line is showing brain development. This is the rate at which our all the wiring takes place in our brains. And you can see that it's in a very short period before children ever enter kindergarten.
First 5 years.
First 5 years. The bottom line shows our public investing and shows that the real investment, it's a cumulative, and the real investment starts when children enter school. So the gigantic gap is when the brain is growing the fastest, we invest the least.
And
it makes no sense. You saw the video, you understand that there's phenomenal research, very solid research, showing the lifelong impact of investing early.
And let's be clear about this. It's not just a question of having children in some sort of setting outside the home. It's a question of the quality of what's going on in that setting, right?
Yeah. There has to be very intentional teaching going on, even for infants and toddlers, not formal, nothing that looks like the K-12 system. Children at every young age learn through play, and so setting up play environments that children can experience materials, experience interaction with each other and with adults, that's what makes for a high-quality early learning setting.
You know, it's a testament to your work and the work of lots of other people in this field. We now have the highest officials in the land incorporating, President Obama incorporated in the State of the Union in the last couple of years, passages about the importance of early childhood and investing in early childhood. Mm-hmm. Governor Kasich has also talked about this in the State of the State the last several years and has proposed a budget. What do you think, the concrete isn't happening yet on the federal level, but the governor has proposed a budget which does increase funding. What do you think of that budget?
Well, I think it's absolutely, I keep having these dreams come true, and one is that that the governor is so invested in high-quality early childhood education. Some of the funds that he's proposing can only go to the highest quality program to help lower-income families attend the highest quality programs. And so not only is there an understanding of the importance of having more people participate, it's also an understanding of what constitutes high quality. So there's a long way to go through the legislature on this budget, but the spirit is there and we'll get something great.
And for parents who are looking for high quality, how do they read high quality? Is there a way, is there a system that you can say, oh, this one's got higher quality than...
Right. Both Ohio and Kentucky have quality rating systems that assign stars, 1 to 5 stars, based on the quality. Now, that's above licensing, so 1 star is good. 3, 4, and 5 stars are great, and both states have this. So parents looking for a high-quality preschool or early learning environment should ask whether the program is quality rated and how many stars they have.
So whether it's coming from the federal government, whether it's coming from the state government, or locally what's being talked about is preschool
promise. Right.
For you, the word is always quality. It's not just seats.
That's right. It's not getting more kids into preschool. It's getting more kids into programs where they are learning, again, through play.
Well, through play, and that's always an interesting... People think play is play, but it's really about learning.
It is for young kids.
Congratulations on your announced retirement, on all you have done and all you're going to do for this community.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. I want to focus now on some older children for just a moment. Let's shift our attention from the children under 5 to high school students. And let's think about a great summer opportunity. This summer, Artworks, the creative organization that pairs professional artists with high school age apprentices to transform building walls into works of art, is looking for apprentices to work on about 20 projects this summer in Evanston, Kennedy Heights, the East End, downtown, OTR, the West End, Plus, Artworks Hero Design Company will be creating superhero capes for children battling serious medical and emotional challenges. If you know a creative person between 14 and 21 years old looking for a creative job this summer, alert them that now is the time to apply for an Artworks apprentice position. The applications are available at artworkscincinnati.org. Apprentices who are hired usually work from 9 to 2, 4 to 10 weeks, and are paid $8.10 an hour. Now's the time that the application has to be submitted by March the 6th. Thank you for joining.